Okay, we're live. All right, so
Hi,
we've
Chris.
hi. I've got Jean here. Now, Jean is kind of an interesting story. She got her ex back, and we wanted to have her on the podcast to find out how and if she, if she can teach you anything in your situation. How's it going, Jean?
Everything's great. Just a little sick right now, like I said a while ago. But yeah, it's going away anyway.
Yeah. So if you're
And
if you're listening, we got on the phone and immediately Jean was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sick," and I told her, "Oh, that's great, I'm sick too." So we're kind of braving the sickness together.
we're all in this together.
Right, right.
But yeah.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your situation and how you, I guess, went through a breakup and how you found the website and what happened after you found the website.
Okay, yeah. So me and my ex, we broke up about 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because I was the one who broke up. And then at
Why?
first, well, because I wasn't really being prioritized in the relationship. That I realized that that's the summary of it, and the fact that he's less committed to the relationship. That's why he's not really prioritizing me.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really a bad guy. He didn't cheat. He didn't. He wasn't. I wasn't hit or anything. You know what I mean? Like, he's a great guy. It's just that I really think it was just he was just less committed to the relationship, and I didn't want that. So I thought it's either I have to stop it. I have to stop what's happening because it's
Mm-hmm.
not what I want. So by breaking up, I wasn't really trying to change him, but I was trying to stop the situation. So if I break up with him, it's either we don't end up together for good or he changes, but at least I'm not there anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean.
So
So
yeah,
you break up with him because he's not prioritizing you over whatever other things he's interested in.
yeah.
And I'm assuming somewhere in there you regret that decision.
I did, yeah, and then I regretted it because, like I said, you have like when you break up, you have a little time to think, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a lot, and then you start thinking about them, the good times, and you realize that, like I said a while ago, he wasn't really a bad person. Like, thinking about the good times, we click,
Mm-hmm.
we laugh a lot, we bond through work because we work in the same industry,
Okay.
and I learn a lot from him. He listens to me a lot also. It's just really the non-prioritizing and less committed, So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, maybe it was also a transition of the relationship, like, because we're 2 years together. We were two
Okay.
years together, and there's like because we were long distance also. So we were at the point where where is this going?
Okay. So two
So
years together, long distance relationship. You're obviously wanting probably a little firmer commitment, I'm guessing, and he's not playing along.
yeah,
Okay.
he got it.
Okay.
So, like, I was thinking about it if that was the case, and I was thinking, am I just giving an excuse so that just because I miss him? But like, come to think of it, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, maybe if I try to understand more, and if I get him to talk to me about it, maybe it could work.
Okay.
If we can get past the transition, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
So
then
so you eventually determine that you want him back.
yes.
So obviously you find our website somewhere in there. Are you just like frantically Google searching on how you can get him back, or how did that process
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, like the rest of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel that um, determination to get them back,
Right.
and so you just do everything. You ask your friends, and then you feel like they're all tired of listening to you and giving you advices. So you just go to Google and Google answers everything. And yeah, I was right. I found your website and it answered my questions and it made me like see what I have to do. But it didn't come until later because in the beginning, after the breakup, in the beginning after the breakup, so I was still unsure whether I want him back or not. And then after about like near the end of December, so we started talking already then, and I'm like, yeah, I need this. I want him back. And then at first, I didn't know what to do. And so I wanted to get a feel first of what's in it to be an EBR, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem buying the program, but I want to see first on if it really works because like I don't want to get ripped off.
Right.
But I want him back. So I saw that you have a Facebook group and that's where I started first.
Very interesting.
I joined.
Very interesting. Yeah. People typically go the opposite direction first. You know, they'll buy the book first because it's cheaper than the Facebook group. And then they'll sort of be like, well, this is great and everything, but I need more. And then they get into the Facebook group or things like that. But I think you made a good decision because the Facebook group can be a really beneficial tool, especially because it kind of connects you with individuals going through similar situations to yours. And you can kind of like see that you're not so alone in how you feel, you know?
Yes, and like getting into the group, I was able to see sort of like testimonials on what they think about the program, and like you have general steps there in your program, and like each step, somebody would post something that would make me trust on the program, you know. And so yeah.
So you found EBR, you get in the Facebook group, and how are things going with your ex at this point? What are you doing actively to try to get him back?
Well, we were back together already, but like since I found EBR, for one, being UG, being the ungettable girl, I'm like, it is really important, you know? And so, but because during the breakup, especially during the NC period, I was horrible. I was like a vegetable. So I was useless. I was ugly. And then
I'm sure that's not the case, but just so we're on the same wavelength here, did you bought access to the group when you had him back, or you hadn't had him back yet?
Well, the thing is, so so I was trying to have a feel on the Facebook group, and up until then, I still have that doubt of wanting to get him. I mean, if I really want him back,
I see.
Because there's the fear of the past issues. Right. You know what I mean? But like, I gave myself a timeline. I'm like, okay, once I get comfortable in the Facebook group, then I would definitely buy this. I would definitely buy it.
I see.
So it doesn't go to waste.
You bought the book actually after you got him back, but you got him back while you were in the Facebook group.
Yeah, it happened so fast. I'm like, hold on, I still have to read the program. Well, but it's still useful. Well, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that you can use to kind of keep him interested. I'm assuming in the relationship, but how did you get him back so fast? What is the secret?
Well, for one, when I finally have your program and then I read through it, and I was happy to see and confirm that most of what I did was correct. Number one, of course, the first step is NC. Like, I did it. It was automatic for me then because I really wanted to heal. And it was in the book that you actually need the NC period to heal, which it helped me a lot. And it also said in your program that it's going to make him miss you. So I'm like, yeah, good thing I was like in line with this program, because that's exactly what happened. So that's number one. And then after that, after the first step, you wrote in the book that you have to build rapport through texting and calling, and like just build the attraction between the two of you, not just physically but emotionally also. So yeah, that helped also, because like when time came when, of course I still have my standards and boundaries, I would just give him everything. So it helped me a lot that when I was able to build back the attraction between us, and I don't think it was possible for me to reject him in any way if there was no attraction at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, because I built the attraction, that's what pulled him back to me
Okay.
after rejecting him on some matters.
So what did you do specifically to build the attraction, though? What do you credit your success to?
Uh, I have I have learned from Anna from Facebook, because there was one point where he was being naughty through texting. So she's like,
Okay.
she's like, you still need to somehow, get attracted to you in some way. Like that is part of it. And so you have to tease him, but you still have to say no when he asks for it.
Right.
So like, that's just one example. Say you're gonna tease him while he's being naughty, and somehow, of course, there's like a sexual attraction that's going on. And then, so yeah, she's like, tease and stop.
Right.
So yeah,
So you
and then
you tried kind of the flirt friend zone thing, where you kind of like would flirt
yes,
with him and then kind of do something to make him think that you're not into him, and then you went back and did it
yes,
again. And you just kind of
uh-huh,
like skirted that line back and forth, and it seemed to work pretty well for you. Did you do like anything else other than that?
yeah. So through texting and calling, I was just being light. I wasn't really talking about anything dragging, if you know what I mean. So being funny and witty, and just keep him interested through that. So that was really important. You
Did
know what I
you
mean?
did you try like any so when you talked to him, did you try any of the like shared interest type text where you're texting him about what he's interested in, or was it more I guess I'm just trying to get a gauge on how your conversations went with him over text messages or over the phone or however you guys would communicate. Was it more him being naughty and you kind of doing the flirt friend zone type thing, or was it more deep conversations, emotional conversations? Where would you put yourself on that range?
Uh, well, they weren't necessarily all sexual matters, but like being naughty. There's also like light things about work or our friends and just making fun, but none of the emotional stuff. I
Okay.
can't. I just because in EBR it says you don't do this yet. Don't talk about with him
Right.
about this yet. Because or else you're gonna risk him being scared of talking to you, or just like. But
So
yeah,
you just basically stuck to what people in the group were recommending, and it worked
yeah,
pretty well for you.
it did.
So
It did
okay, so
well.
just so I have this straight, you've gone through this breakup. You're the one who broke up with him, so that already kind of puts you in a really interesting position of power, because typically speaking, most of the people that we work with are on the opposite
Yeah.
end of the spectrum. They're the ones who end up getting broken up with, but you're the one who broke up with him because he's not like sort of taking the level of commitment that you want from him. And
Yes, but
go
but you
ahead.
got to understand also, if it felt like he was the one who broke up, because I was only forced to do that because I
I
couldn't take
see.
it anymore.
I
You know what
see.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's the type who's stubborn and not necessarily condescending, but he's like an alpha male who would go, "No, you asked me first,"
I see.
something like that. Yeah.
So from there, you start building attraction up with him. You do kind of a no contact period, and then you start building the
Yeah.
attraction. Or how
Yeah.
long did that no contact period last? I didn't ask you that. How long did you
Uh,
last in the
it,
no contact period?
30 days. 30
Wow,
days.
you actually stuck it through for the whole 30 days. No slip ups
Yeah.
or anything like that?
No slip ups or anything.
Oh man, let's do a virtual high
It was
five. That was
hard,
good.
but it was really hard.
Yeah, it
Like,
is.
indescribable. I was just crying all the time and like, but what helped me a lot during NC was having like a journal
A
and
journal?
just writing. Yeah, whenever I feel like texting him something, I would write it down. And usually when I feel those things that I feel are emotional and so long, so I would just write them down. And then I'd write them down first so I can check on my grammar and not look stupid when I text it to him. So I finish writing, and then when it's time for me to write it on text to send to him, I'm already tired. I'm like, and then I would read it again. And I'm like, this looks so dragging. And like, I don't think he would read it anyway. So I would just keep it.
That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. So
Mm.
you use journaling to kind of get your emotions out before you would sort of
Yes.
vent on him.
Yeah.
And okay, so how did you get him back exactly? How did that process go? Did he make the first move to try to quote unquote lock you down or get you back into a relationship, or did you make the first move? And if so, what did you say and how did it work out?
Well, it was a long process. He was the one who initiated.
Okay.
So after the NC, coincidentally, he sent me a message on the 31st day, and
Wow.
then
It's
yeah,
it's almost like he knew, you know?
it's almost like he knew, but um, but like the message, it was kind of straight on to it already. So back before we broke up, we talked about meeting up because he has a short term job here in Asia.
Hmm.
So he goes, "Let's meet up because it's quite close. I'll fly you in." And I'm like, "Okay." And then the breakup happened, and so plans canceled. And
Right.
then NC after NC, when he initiated the text, it was like, okay, so I'm here. I know we're supposed to meet up, and the silence took long. I didn't think that it was going to be that long, but so I'm here right now, and I would regret it if I don't ask you to meet up. And
Wow.
then, yeah,
I think so much of what it's really interesting doing interviews like this because I get to learn from your perspective on what you felt worked, right? But
yeah,
I also get to kind of hear what I get to compare your success story to other people's success stories. And one thing I've noticed a lot lately is so much of this boils down to timing, right? Like if the timing
uh-huh.
of when you did the no contact rule was any different, you might not have him back yet. He might not take that risk and reach out to you, invite you to this get together. But the fact that
Yeah,
your no contact ended and it just happened to be when he was in this area, it really served you well. So
yeah.
I'm assuming after no contact, you're just sort of like jumping around happy, sort of like, wow, that worked. That was pretty easy. But you didn't have him back fully yet, right? You still had to go see him.
No, well, okay. So, I just want to share this one bit first during
Okay.
NC. So, during NC, what you start to think.
Hmm.
And you're sad, you get paranoid that they see other people. And that came to me, you know, and then, I'm like, what if he meets up with this girl? Cause he sort of had this, past girl,
Mm-hmm.
and he was being chatty with her in the past, and I would get jealous, I would get insecure, and I'm like, don't talk to her anymore. But he's stubborn. He's like, I can do whatever I want. I'm not cheating. I'm not really being flirty with her. It's just normal. So yeah. And then I thought of her, like my instinct was like, I think he's just gonna meet up with her. Oh my god. And
Mm.
then there was one point where, like, this is where being UG is really important. So somehow I'm UG already a little bit before that. And then, so I raised my chin up and I'm like, I'm going to let him meet up with her. You know what? Let him meet up with her. It doesn't matter. Cause if only for him to realize that it's me who he wants and not her, you know?
Right.
And then when he texted, so we met and then we talked, and he goes, because the place where we met is quite significant because it's where the pastor lives. And I'm
Wow.
like, why are you here? You know, I knew it. You were going to meet with her. I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me the story. He goes, okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room before anything else. Yes, I met up with her. I didn't even ask him. He goes, yes, I met up with her, but it was nothing. It was, if anything, it felt more like a closure because we didn't really, I was mad at her for a while because this is like right before me when they were together. And he goes, if anything, it's more of a closure because I saw that I didn't feel anything for her anymore. And it's actually meeting up with her after that, that pushed me to initiate contact with you. And I'm like, see, I just, you know, just,
So by his own admission, he meets up with this girl, and he's probably only thinking about you. So he's with this girl, and he's thinking, man, Jean was so much
yeah,
better than Cindy
yeah,
here, or something like that, whatever her name is. Um,
yeah. And
wow.
then when I came across EBR and talking all about UG and stuff, and I'm like, you see, that's why it's really important to be UG, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
whether you're together or you're not together anymore and you're trying to get him back. But like, because what would mark in his mind is what and how you are, and that's what he wants, you know.
Well,
But yeah,
it's real interesting. I guess the timing even there worked out so well because he happened to be close to you where this other girl was.
yeah,
And he meets the other girl after the no contact period where he's missing you and obviously thinking a lot about you because guess what? You're not probably talking to him or reaching out to him, which he's probably expecting you to do. Then he meets this girl and he's sort of
yeah,
like, man, I'm with this girl and I thought it might be a little different, but all I can think about is Jean. And so that's
yeah.
what sparks him to finally sort of take the chance and message you, so to speak. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
You got perfect timing, Gene. Let me just say
I
that.
know.
Perfect timing.
It is, but so here's the story where like how I got him back, like
Okay.
you know. So he initiated contact, and this is where my mistakes all came in.
Ah.
so
You did real
so
good with
we
the
met.
ungettable girl stuff. You did real good with the no contact rule. And then we start talking to him. Okay, where did things
Yeah,
go
and then
wrong?
we start talking to him. So from there, we met up, we talked, but like it was a short meetup, like 3 days,
Okay.
and
That's not
our
that
first
short.
evening.
3 days? Most people just are like dying to get an hour with their ex. 3 days? That's not too bad.
No, no, that is short because we only meet. We're so far
Long
apart,
distance, yeah. I hear you.
yeah, that we can't really meet every week or even every month because that's just too expensive for us.
Oh, man.
So we can only meet each other every quarter. and
So
it has to
once every
be,
3 months or so.
yeah, and it has to be a little long for us just so we can make good use of what we spend. Because it's just expensive to meet each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was short for me.
Okay.
And then, so very first evening that we met, because in EBR process, I saw that you shouldn't be talking about the relationship yet,
Okay.
and don't be emotional yet, and just show him being Yuji and happy and like you don't care.
Okay.
but like our first talk dinner, we were arguing already because it's just easy to pick up,
Yeah, I hear you.
from where you left it before. And I didn't control my emotions. I was just spilling out, and it was bad. So we argued, and another mistake is we slept together already.
I had a feeling you would say
On the
that.
first night. On the first night. I'm
Okay.
like,
All right. Well,
what am I supposed to do?
well, I mean, you're kind of in this
But
really
yeah.
interesting gray area where you kind of got him back, so it's sort of the rules necessarily not 100% apply, but they kind of do. But yeah, you said, yeah, I kind of made a mistake, and immediately when you said that, I was like, oh, she slept with him, and I was just waiting for you to say it, and so it doesn't shock me. So how did things go after that?
Yeah, but you know what? What's interesting is that I only heard it from him about 2 weeks after that because we kept talking.
Okay.
Even after the arguments and whatever happened then.
Mm-hmm.
So, because like I said, I just read in EBR that you weren't supposed to talk about the relationship yet in the early stage of being reconnected.
Right.
But like I just couldn't help it. I'm like, no, we have to talk about this first before I jump into this. And he asked me, like on that second week, he asked me, he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, what do you mean by not get on it yet? I thought we were back together already. And I'm like, what? Are we? So yeah, I actually got him back right then, but I messed it up because like I said, I didn't have EBR program until just recently after we got back together.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you're real interesting because most people buy the book before they get their ex back. You bought it after you got their ex back.
That's because.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, but I really wanted to buy it because I think it's still helpful even when you're in the relationship already. It's not about, you're not doing the positive things that were advised there only to get them back, but you have to keep doing them while together already. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
for me to keep doing that, I have to learn it first. And that's why I still bought the program.
That's really interesting. So what you're basically saying is that he thought that you were back together when you slept together, probably. And you were like, well, you didn't ask me until 2 weeks after that point where you were like...
He didn't even ask. He just said, oh, I thought we were back together. He just said it like that. And I'm like, what? I don't have a say on it?
I can tell you without a doubt, I would probably... I think I'm cut from the same cloth. Like, I think when it comes to talking about, like, relationship, like, statuses, I'm a coward. And I think most men are. I'll never forget the very first girlfriend I ever had. She literally, like, we were doing boyfriend and girlfriend things, right? We were holding hands, kissing. We were doing everything that you're kind of doing when you're supposed to be dating someone and exclusive with someone. But I just was sort of like, this is great. I don't even have to say like, hey, we're together now, right? I just was walking forward and just in the frame of mind that I'm not going to have to say a thing. It's just assumed. And then literally probably like a week into it, the girl asked me over the phone one night, So are we like dating? Exactly, probably how it went with you, and I was like, oh, I thought we already were. Of
Yeah.
course we are, you know. So I think your guys cut from the same type of cloth as me. So
Well,
hopefully that'll give you some good insight into him.
well, I think that's generally the difference between guys and girls.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened from there was it went down. It went down. I lost his interest in the relationship.
Really?
So
So once you got
yeah.
committed, he started becoming a little disinterested.
When I actually asked that, and he said, "Oh, I thought we were back together," but then because we were during that same time we were talking about deep stuff about the relationship,
Okay.
about the past issues, and I agree that you shouldn't really do that in the early stage of reconnection because it's just really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to happen is that they're going to rethink. They're going to make it's going to make them rethink of their decision of trying to get back with you
Right.
because they're in this excruciating moment of trying to discuss the past issues. I guess they're still embarrassed of what they've done before, and you can't just dump it all there. You know, you have to pace it out. You have to let them grow into it
Mm-hmm.
instead of just dumping everything. So that was another mistake that I did. So it went down from there. And he goes, "Oh, so we're not together." I'm like, "No, not yet." And he said, "Okay," because I don't know. Cause I'm just you're being his term is pants when you're being such a loser for like discussing something that he doesn't want to discuss yet. But like, yeah. So we we were not together again at that point.
Wow.
And from yeah, and I lost the power there. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
lost the control over us, over what's happening between us on the getting back together. And so that's where I had to restart and build the attraction again. Yeah,
So
that was the
where are
story.
we
And
now? Or so you got him back?
yeah,
Have you gotten him back again, or have you got?
yes,
Okay, so tell me
I
that
regained
story.
power. I
Tell
regained
tell me the
power.
power. How did you regain it?
Yeah, so we were talking about building attraction a while ago. I was able to do that by through texting, through calling, and one challenging part is that we don't we don't share we're not friends on Facebook, and that's the only social media that he's on. So the things that I read about posting
Hmm.
from EBR process, how important it is, I I couldn't really do that because we're not friends there. We
So
decided it a long time ago because we believe that it's going to cause us trouble.
really,
And
so it
yeah,
was a joint idea not to be friends on Facebook.
yes,
Wow.
it was. And then so I I was whatchamacallit. I was trying to maximize what we have. We only talk through WhatsApp, and that's where I maximize a profile photo. So
Okay.
I would change it every week,
Clever.
and of course, you would only post UG photos there, like where you're really hot and like happy. So each time I did it, I would always get a comment like, "You're so beautiful, you're my angel, you're so pretty there," you know?
Hmm.
And I think the attraction is growing, the physical attraction is growing from there.
Okay.
And that's when I realized when I saw it in EBR Pro, how important the posting is. And I'm like, if we were friends on Facebook, it would have been more. It would have been faster for us. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And then,
I
yeah,
find it fascinating that you're not friends on Facebook, because so
yeah, we're
often
not.
that's such a big deal. What's the thinking behind that decision? Like
Well,
you mentioned it might cause some issues. Why?
yeah. Well, in the beginning we were, but like later on, because I found myself
Oh, constantly.
stalking,
Yeah, I've been there.
stalking,
I've been there.
yeah, stalking the exes,
Hmm.
under his friends, and every now and then I would ask him, "What is this? Why did you guys do
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Or what
yeah.
is this photo?" And
Been there too.
I didn't. For myself, I didn't like that. I'm like, it. I don't like being insecure. You know what I mean? And it's
It
not
took
like
a pull
it's
on your emotions for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. So
and it's
you
not
felt
like
like
he's doing something.
well,
Yeah,
also it's like every time that you personally go onto Facebook, you have this compelling desire to go check and see if he's posted a
I
photo with another
know.
girl
I
or
yeah, you
you know
just can't help it.
right
You know?
and then he hasn't deleted those photos from his
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend that are still up and that you're just kind of like looking and sort of like well, why hasn't he deleted these but you're trying to
Yeah.
sound like you
The
don't
thing is,
yeah go ahead
the thing is, he didn't even have those photos on his own. He would have tagged photos, but not from his
I
albums,
see
not from his
hmm
posting. And that's where I saw that maybe it's the problem is with me, you know. And then when he said, "Okay, we have to stop this. Let's just unfriend each other," and I said, "Okay,
okay
I think that would help." I'm like, okay, I agree. So yeah, and then yeah, building attraction. Going back, so building attraction, and then there are times when I would still probe every now and then about relationship topics, and
hmm
when that when those conversation comes a little heavy, and he would have something to think about, he would go silent. He would do his own NC on me, you know, like for a week or for a few days, and then it's annoying. Like girls hate that when we don't get response immediately. We hate that. So like when he wouldn't reply, I would get antsy, but I would control myself. I would let him, and I think it's how I was able to build emotional attraction with him. It's like I think I was giving what he needs when he needs it. So if he needs to be alone for the time being to think about stuff, I wouldn't bother him at all. I would even just let him come to me. I wouldn't initiate anything until he's ready, you know? So as much as building the physical attraction, I think that's where I was able to build the emotional attraction as well.
so you used physical attraction to kind of open up the ability to talk about emotional things or getting him hooked
Yes.
in. Okay, that's pretty
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because Facebook is removed from the equation, it kind of limits what you could do. So you just mostly relied on WhatsApp for pictures, or would you
Yeah.
like send him pictures when you're texting? What would you use mostly to ramp up the physical attraction?
Yeah. I would send him photos of me every now and then,
Okay.
and then the changing of the profile photo.
Hmm.
But like I discovered that even when we're not friends, I just knew this recently. So when he finally asked me for us to get back together, he was like, right before that, he goes, "Thank you for unblocking me on Facebook," because what I did before, when I was brokenhearted, I deactivated my Facebook.
Oh.
So yeah, and then I finally got back to it after New Year,
Hmm.
and then right before he talked about getting back together, he texted me, "Thank you for unblocking me on Facebook," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, he was making joke about it." He goes, "Yeah, the FB man called me and he was worried that it seems that you blocked me 2,000 times in the past." So they were checking if I was okay. And I'm like, "No, I didn't block you." I said, "I just deactivated it." And I go, "I think I know what this is. You are stalking my Facebook, aren't you?" He goes, No, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, you are. Obviously, you are. 2,000 times you were stalking my Facebook. And he was just laughing. So, yeah. Yeah, so for the girls there who worry that the ex won't
We'll
try
look.
and look at their
Yeah.
Facebook, they would.
He's
They
looking,
definitely
ladies.
would.
He's looking.
Yeah. So trust in that. Don't doubt yourselves.
Well,
But
it's.
yeah,
I got to say, you have a real interesting approach to getting him back. It seems like no contact did a lot of work, but the
it
attraction
did.
bit helped quite a bit as
Oh
well.
yeah, it's equally important with no contact,
Mm-hmm.
building attraction. Like I said a while earlier, there were times when I just have to stand my ground and reject him on some stuff. Like, sex of any form, whether it's cyber sex or
Mm-hmm.
in person. But it came to a point where he was just really strongly pushing it. And I was like, no, it has to be black and white. We have to have a commitment before I can do anything with you. And so I feared to reject him because I was scared that he was going to walk away for good,
Mm-hmm.
as women are usually generous with their men. So I'm like, it's what I have to give just for him to stick. But I just restricted myself and I said, no, we won't do this. Like in a serious tone, like close to mad tone. And I was just like, okay, whatever. If he walks away because of this, there's nothing I can do. I just can't do it. But he didn't. He didn't get turned off. I think, if anything, it helped him realize how serious he has to be with me.
And it seems like it paid off in the end.
It did. And I think because he was emotionally and physically attracted to me, so he has that already in him and he wants it. And no rejection from sex would stop that. You get my point,
I
right?
get your point. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are going to have a lot to think about because you definitely have one of the more interesting success stories we've had on the podcast. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's